Hello, my name is Andrew Hunter. I'm inviting you to imagine and play a part in Fairlington's next 75 years by giving you an update of the activities of the upper parking lot team. So let me get started. When we think about the nature of change, all sorts of things happen in our minds. And I love this quote by Charles Handy. The world keeps changing. It is one of the paradoxes of success that the things and the ways which got you where you are seldom those that keep you there. If we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change. I always put this for me in the context of a family that has a mission statement, perhaps to raise loving, kind, curious children. And if you state that as a mission, that doesn't change over time. But the way you parent does, because it has to adapt to the way the child is growing into its world. And if you still parent the way you did a 2-year-old that you do a preteen or a teenager, you might have some troubles in achieving that mission at the end of the day. So yes, and this picture here was on the way to Deep Creek Lake, a real signpost, by the way. So it's about adaptability, it's about flexibility, it's about a growth mindset, and I think we all have that here at Fairlington. And we are blessed to have amazing possibilities in front of us. Just a little bit on the context, the why this team was formed. Our congregation has have a long and proud history in service to God in our community. As our hearts and minds have continued to grow and foster new ideas and ways to help, the condition of our building and property has been a limiting factor that is impacting the way we worship and the services we provide. Imagine is the visioning process, inviting congregational and community input to answer this question. How do we remain relevant for the next 75 years? Where it all fits in Fairlington's strategic objectives is always a good place to start. One of our goals is to create a 21st century energy efficient infrastructure that includes AV and IT communication improvements, the chapel, the garden work, HVAC modernization, having a commercial kitchen, and an upper parking lot transformation. Fits nicely into that goal. Goal two is building a more effective community, increasing the emphasis on building small groups that focus on spiritual deepening through study, worship, and discipleship, including online on-demand options, drawing people into meaningful, lasting relationships. We can reach inward and we can reach outward, outside of our walls into our community. I think this is also another wonderful opportunity to do that. Goal three, redirect our efforts to create congregation-wide enthusiasm and commitment to a more focused set of mission activities. And those activities are oriented around housing, um, uh, uh, food security, creation care, and immigration and refugee support. Goal four, this doesn't have much to do with that, but that's okay. And when you think about, it helps me stepping back and getting some perspective. We've just celebrated Reconciliation Sunday after 10 years from 2013. And since then, we've become an even more welcoming and safe space for all. That was our foundation work. It really spoke to the soul of who we are. Then we had the building committee work in 2014 to 2017. There was many meetings of discernment. There were voices of perhaps not tearing down the church, of keeping the sanctuary as is. There was talk about making it more welcoming in terms of its entrances, and we had design changes, designs created for that. The architectural drawings have been done for that. Um, we spent a lot of time thinking about the bigger picture of what the church property could be. We did not address the parking lot, the north parking lot at the time. We've replaced the 50-year-old HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, at least the chiller. And we've worked on reducing the long-term maintenance and energy costs. By the way, these bullets right here are objectives that we set back in March 2017 at Charge Conference. And as I go through these, I realize that we've been busy. We've been actually executing on them. We've done a partial HVAC remodeling, right? So that's why I've got the green and yellow colors there. It's still in progress, and we've partially completed it. Um, we were talking about enhancing welcoming and worship by addressing our too small narthex area and outdated outdoor signage. Yeah, we've done a lot of that activity. Reconfiguring the building to create an easily accessible front door. We've got the design for it. We haven't executed it. Create more flexible and functional space to expand ministries and enhance opportunities for revenue generation and community involvement. We have been renting out some space. We have created the chapel space. We have got full use of our fellowship hall. And I think we still got a lot to do in terms of how we continue to put our space out for community use. Create at least one more large flexible room like the current chapel, that can offer flexibility for both church and non-church related gatherings. I think we've done pretty well there. And upgrade our sound system. These are all things that we have done or have begun or are continuing to achieve. So we have done a lot since the building committee work in 2017 laid out these objectives. So things are in motion and options being explored. Teams are working, not through forever standing committees, but agile teams created to address an opportunity and bring recommendations to the leadership team, bring options or a plan, and congregation, as we're doing today. We're just getting ideas today that we haven't brought a plan to the leadership team yet or recommendations. Our renovation team worked pre-COVID to come up with a design with the architect. And during COVID, much maintenance and repair work was completed. We modernized the church governance process. There was wilderness renewal. A lot of activities happened during those 2 years of COVID. Our kitchen team is bringing a vision and a plan to upgrade the kitchen and opening up fundraising and ministry opportunities there. And our parking lot team is exploring options as to what we do with that valuable space. Our trustee team is addressing heating and cooling of the sanctuary and has worked tirelessly to keep this church running. And we did receive a loan to start and complete work on the kitchen and the HVAC chiller. This is our focus today. And why did we form the parking lot team? Well, the parking lot is a valuable and underutilized asset. There is an opportunity cost to this space. It's 1.5 acres zoned for single and multifamily and other uses such as churches and community spaces and things like that. It's presently earning some income from parking fees. I think we make about $42,000 a year, renting out 75 spots, $3,500 a month from the construction company for its workers to park there. But it also is providing space for mission activities like food distribution, reflection for the wilderness area, and other odds and ends, bringing in a sense that the community sees that space being used for good purposes. The team was formed to explore two primary questions and bring back options to the congregation. How do we more boldly make this property work for us and our mission objectives, and perhaps allow us to pay for much of our building needs while providing services to West End Alexandria? And how can it be a portal to connect with our community in new ways and provide services related back to our mission areas? The team got Jerry Hebert, Janine Howard, myself, Ann Wilson, Chuck Rash, Craig Stevens, June Stowe, Denise Taylor as our trustees representative, and Larry Duggins. Larry is a clergy and real estate background, and he's been invaluable helping us walk through the steps needed in this transformation. And he's worked with other churches in similar activities. We've so far we've met with Melanie Gray, a social worker at Christ Church Alexandria. We talked with her about the Alive Food Hub model, where you have a combined services focus, a building that does many things for the community. We talked with Pastor Julie Wilson Black and Paul Brown of Wesley Housing. Pastor Wilson Black is from the Presbyterian Church across the street from us. They went through a model where and this was about 8-10 years ago, pre-COVID, of course, where they made a deal with a developer, and they had some say, affordable housing, in terms of what they would like to see built there. But they took the money and then gave up any control over that property. And so they used that money to help their existing church and do renovations there. Julian Gonsalves is the Assistant City Manager for Public-Private Partnerships for the City of Alexandria. Gave us lots of thoughts in terms of priorities to think about in other contexts in the city. Tricia Rogers and Natalie Tallis, they're part of the Alexandria Health Department. They let us know from their perspective what kind of spaces are really needed by the City of Alexandria. And a primary one is flexible space. They're always looking for flexible space to coach mothers, women with infants, support, pop-up meeting spaces, classrooms, music and arts activities, after-school childcare, just a lot of those kinds of things would be spaces needed for West End Alexandria. We also had the property. We also talked just recently, I forgot to add this, with an Episcopal church down the street. And they had sold their land, actually rented their land to a developer, and they built 114 affordable housing units on it too. And they took all the lease money for 64 years up front, 4.2 million, and then they rebuilt their church. It's a very small church, 80-person Episcopal church. So we've been looking at models where other churches have done this stuff too. Trish, we had the property appraised at 8.2 million. This assumes full usage assumptions, and full usage in this case is 33 20-foot wide townhouse lots. Okay, that's just the standard of what they measured against in terms of maximum value. We did contract with Larry Duggins, and we formed an immediate action plan, which you'll see the next steps on the next step slide. Just a few of the possibilities we've discussed, and we are inviting more through meetings like this, through sessions that we've had with the church. I've met with several Sunday school classes, several general sessions. Members of the team and I have met with them. I even met with our youth, and they gave some ideas. In fact, the youth the other day were saying, it'd be nice to have a safe space across the street, some kind of combination recreation center, meeting place, study place, and maybe bring in other uses for that space for the city or whatever community needs there are. But they would easily walk down from T.C. Williams, and I asked them if it was too far of a walk, and they said, no way. Come over here. We wouldn't want all sorts of churchy stuff there, but we could at least, bring our friends, and then we could talk about the wonderful things that do happen across the street in our Christian community. So that was just another set of ideas from our youth. We could sell the land. We could earn interest and pay for maintenance for players with the interest earned. Take the money and literally just give up any ownership over that land. There are all sorts of models here we could use. The Presbyterian Church did use that model, and that's sort of an inward focus. Okay, taking care of our property, our church, ourselves. And then there's the alternative model of of creating a space over there where we also still own, and we in partnership with somebody, and we put our own mission objectives to work. Um, that's another model on sort of the alternate end of the spectrum. You could have a paid parking solar energy charging station model. After all, you just renting out that parking lot could possibly give you a couple $100,000 a year. We'd have to buy a service. And these are the kinds of things we might want to do in the short term while we think about the longer term needs. Lots of ideas. A new modular building, sort of along the lines of that dynamic, flexible space need. And you can go through any community center. I live near Arlingtonville in Arlington, very dynamic place, lots of classrooms, immigrant help, computers, um, a gym for kids, art spaces, lecture spaces, very dynamic and constantly changing in terms of what's available there. That could be a model too, and one that can invite outside space with the wilderness area, with maybe aligned with an internal space that goes along with it in a nice way. We've been getting lots of good ideas, and that might require, any one of these would require a joint venture with a developer. Green space. When you project 8 to 10 years is when we're really talking about this, because lots of these other models of church transformation have taken 8 to 10 years. They take a year just to discern with the congregation what the options are on the table. So it takes some time. We want to hear from a lot of people. And when you think about green space today, it's hard to monetize green space. Maybe 8 to 10 years, it becomes a premium. So, that even is a possibility. We're just not sure how you can earn income on it right now, unless you maybe combine it with maybe a new modular building that brings people as well. Transform the existing building with the dollars that we earn, whether we sell the land outright or we earn interest and rental fees, and we pay for maintenance of our main building that way. We could, also there's possibilities for dollars from a commercial kitchen, our fellowship hall, and unused Sunday school space. We're looking into all these activities right now. There's such things as a food truck ministry that we're looking into. We're also looking into American recovery funds through the city of Alexandria for maybe creating a renewed space with our fellowship hall and unused lower education wing that's empty all week. So we could at least earn some near-term income as well from these spaces. Next steps. We've done the first two. The trustees did give us some good figures, because you not only want to know how much the land's worth, you want to know what the cost is of running our existing building. And we've got about, for a full HVAC redo, you've got probably about another $1.5 million worth of activity there. And then about another $800,000 worth of repair and maintenance that we have to do on the church. And recurring building costs are about $70,000 a year. So I have all faith that we will find the way to use that property in a way to increase the outreach of our church, connect with the neighborhood's needs, and find us income, perhaps to help keep the church that we love as well. What we're doing right now is underway, reporting to the congregation and inviting ideas. We have several things that we still need to do. We've got to gather possibilities within the neighborhood. Many of the folks we've talked to said, don't discount the need to talk to your neighbors. Find out what they want. Find out what would be helpful to them. We're good neighbors already. We have this wonderful campus of a playground and a school and a sanctuary, amazing organ and music program. And then we have the wilderness, and we have this parking lots, parking spaces. A lot of people do have concerns about parking. Um, and I would love to have that concern about parking all the time. That's a good problem to have. The Episcopal Church that redid their space, they got rid of most of their parking, and they went down to about 16 parking spaces, but it's a small congregation. But they went to 3 services, so they just spread out how people came to worship. And so there are doables like that, right? You can also build underground if you have to. But I think you can also build quite a large structure on that parking lot and keep half the parking intact. So go walk it sometime, just see how large it is compared to the affordable housing next door. And I think you'll get a different kind of impression of how much space it really is over there. But we're going to reach out. We're going to have discussions with the neighborhood. We invite them over to the church, ask them what they need, and get their ideas. We also need to check out the American Rescue Plan for Alexandria. One of the leadership team members are doing that right now, and could support upgrade in the fellowship hall and education wing. We're looking at that. And then in the meantime, I think there'd be some great ideas on how to increase revenue from the use of the parking lot a little more than what we're getting right now. I was, interested in looking at using charger stations. I wonder what that involves. Putting a parking service in place to control parking, and of course on Sundays being open to everybody. But there are all sorts of opportunities there. We had somebody the other day tell me that, when I went to church, the thing that brought me to church as a kid was having the gym, having a place to run around and play and have indoor sports on rainy days and things like that as part of the church. And so that was their idea. And we're getting a lot of ideas like that from folks. So what I'm imploring you to do is send me ideas so the team can bring this together and for decision. And we'll winnow them down to maybe 3 at the leadership team level, and then we'll bring it back out to the congregation for further discussion. This will be a process that we'll be doing over the next several months. So there's a lot more to talk about, but being a recording, I just wanted to finish with there's an old story about 3 brick masons, and a man came across them, and they were all working at chipping chunks of granite from large blocks. And the first one just seemed a little unhappy at his job and chipping away. And when the man asked what he was doing, he just said, I'm hammering this stupid rock, and I can't wait till 5 when I get to go home. Came upon the second mason, and he looked a little more interested, hammering diligently on the rock. And when asked what it was he was doing, he answered, well, I'm molding this block of rock so it can be used with others to construct a wall. It's not bad work, but I'll sure be glad when it's done. And then finally, the third one comes across the third mason, and he chipped off small pieces until he's satisfied that it was the best he could do. When he was questioned about his work, he stopped, gazed skyward, and proudly proclaimed, I'm building a cathedral. So bricks, walls, or your version of a cathedral. 3 people, 3 different attitudes, all doing the same job. It's all teamwork. We're all in it together. And our job is to put that vision out for people based on all your input and of what we can do. With the parking lot, even though it really fits in with the rest of our school, our sanctuary, our playground, our wilderness, how it all comes together to be a campus to serve Alexandria and our larger community. How we bring our mission outward. Think about that. So please send your ideas to me, Andrew Hunter 129 at outlook.com. And we'll continue to gather these and greet me in the halls, ask me any questions, or anybody on the parking lot team. Be glad to help you. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.